What's going on, Stadium? Sup, Rolls? I'm flying solo tonight. It's pre-PAX. Let's kind of wrap up a little bit, talk a little bit about what's going on, and yeah, Pedro's got he's got everything. He tries to do a lot within the week before PAX, and so he's got some work stuff going on, and um, it's just going to be hectic up until Tuesday night before he, or Wednesday morning probably before he leaves from Syracuse to Boston to meet up for PAX. So that's usually how it goes the week before. Um, yeah, singular indeed tonight. Yeah, so that's it. That's pretty much. We'll be talking. We'll just shooting it here on stream, maybe 30, 45 minutes. Sometimes I'll go an hour because I'll ramble. Right, that's how it goes. But uh, I mean, we'll talk about what's going on. If anyone in chat has a subject we want to talk about, we can go for it. Where's Chewbacca? Um, my I don't know what you mean. My dogs? The dogs are out. They'll jump all over me while I'm trying to do the stream here. Oh man, I'm looking through the news here. It's got some fun stuff that was announced right before 4PAX. I thought I'd definitely be talking about that for sure. Yeah, and I missed out on your Mario Kart, man. Like you sent it to me, and I was like, yeah, I'm gonna do it, and then like it just things kind of landed on me right before 8 p.m. rolled around, and after when I turned around and looked at the chat, it was way later. But we're gonna try to do that again. Let's. I should set up another tournament like that and see if I can get people online and join up for a Mario Kart tournament. Yeah, man, we're gonna be talking about the Toxic Crusaders. I'm excited for that. It looks like Retrowave is doing a release. It's another beat 'em up, kind of like the TMNT Shredder's Revenge, and yeah, I don't know. I haven't even watched the full trailer. I watched it while I was out at dinner, and so like I couldn't hear it. But I'm excited to see. I'm going through here my news real quick, trying to make sure I don't miss anything. Or if I do miss anything, please someone call it out for me. Anything that we've missed since the last week. But yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited for sure. PAX is it's one of those things where I get really hyped for it because it's kind of a vacation for the week. But everything up to that point always feels just feels busy. Everything like at work, for some reason, they know that I'm going to be out next week, so they've really stacked me with all sorts of stuff, training and all sorts of things that I need to do. Should just pick up a controller and pretend you're playing. Right? That would be like I'm just gonna put it on and stream it and I'm playing. Yeah, actually, I haven't watched a single episode yet. I want to wait. I usually wait like 2 or 3 episodes in before because then I have something to watch. Like what's gonna happen is I watch that first episode and then I want the next one. So that's what I've been doing with the Disney ones so far. Man, can we hear that? My hands feel real dry. Look, need some lotion. I don't even like lotion. Oh man. Yeah, I know they're just dry, but they don't look that way. But like I'm noticing I've got the mic and the monitor, so I'm like, so me just going on the trackpad here, I'm like, why is it so loud? But the mic is picking it up. I think it's over accentuating it. But oh man. Yeah, we've got Ghostwire coming. That's gonna be good to Xbox. I don't know what else, man. I know we're getting that Magic of the Gathering. See, Pedro isn't here. We get to talk about Magic of the Gathering. We're getting a Lord of the Rings Magic of the Gathering crossover, which is going to be good. I'm guessing everyone saw was it the season finale for The Last of Us? Was that season finale or was it we still got another episode? Not exactly sure. Oh, so we are getting one more episode. Okay. Yeah, it was the end of the game story, the first game story for sure. Um, yeah, I'm gonna kick off the credits, and then we'll jump right in. I want to yeah, no problem. And yeah, no, definitely would be up for that roles. It was cool that you had one going. I never get anybody to actually message for any type of online game for the Switch anymore. But and Mario Kart 8 is always a fun one to kind of throw up and create a tournament. All right, let's run these credits, and then we'll go from there. Again, episode one, we're gonna, I think, starting this year. Anytime there's an episode without Pedro, it'll just be another. I'm not gonna label it a number. I'm just gonna be it's gonna be a supplemental. I think is what we're gonna call it here. So let's go. Let's run these credits like I normally do. But yeah, let's go. Hey everyone, welcome to Mid-Geek Crisis. This is episode one of 2023 Supplemental here. I think that's how I'm going to be doing it from now on. Anytime there's an episode when I don't have my partner in crime or a second person, it will not be a numbered episode. It allows me to kind of keep going if I want to, but at the same time, stop the numbering just because, I don't know, the numbering thing matters to me for some reason. But yeah, here we are. We are now halfway through March. That's impressive. I feel like we just had New Year's, and we are 2 days away from St. Patrick's Day. Which I don't know if anyone goes out and does anything. I don't think I ever did that. I was never a individual that went out and did the drinking, and even my Mexican side doesn't do like Cinco de Mayo. Was always kind of like, what, really? Is that what people do? I didn't go. I mean, I was never a university student. I went to college, but I never a university student. So I was never like, hey, let's go out to the nightclub. Let's hang out and do stuff. So I was always like, got to work the next day. So with all that in mind, everyone, be safe. I know I'm going to Boston on Wednesday, which is cool because it's a week after. But like, it's funny. I kind of wish it was this week, right? Because I would love to see what Boston is like for St. Patrick's Day. I bet it's crazy. Um, it's a big that town really likes to go crazy on it for sure. And before I roll the credits, I know we're talking about The Last of Us here. I have not actually watched any of it. I'm now that it's going to be done, I can sit down and kind of binge it. That'll be nice. Maybe I'll do it on the trip up there. I tend to fly in to Boston the Wednesday before, so it's Thursday through Sunday. I fly in on Wednesday. I'll give you a little bit of my itinerary, what I usually do. Boston is one of my favorite towns to kind of visit. I don't know if I would ever want to live there, but I enjoy the Northeast. I enjoy the Northeast a lot. I like the weather when it's not covered in 7 feet of snow. I enjoy the weather. I enjoy the spring. I enjoy the fall. Boston's kind of a fun town, an old town, a lot of history, good food, a lot of good seafood. That's one of my favorites. I love the clam strips, loves the lobster, and that's what I do. So I land. My trip will be. I will be leaving Texas around. I want to say 6 a.m. I think is my flight. It's pretty early, and I've got a layover in one city. That's the way it is. Almost every flight nowadays is usually a stop. It's hard to kind of travel one way when you do ever or direct flight nowadays. And the direct flights are always like an extra $150 more, which is ridiculous per ticket. And I bought my ticket pretty early. So with that being said, I did. I fly Southwest all the time. It's just cheaper. I mean, we've got a good airport here at Dallas Love Field, and fly out of Love Field, and we'll land in Boston. And the first thing I do, I don't even go directly to my hotel. I I pull up my Uber or Lyft, whatever's cheaper, and I map out one of my favorite places. I'll share it. It's one of my if ever in Boston, please please check them out. They are called. So my favorite is called James Hook and Co. It is a lobster place, right? So I immediately go and I get myself a lobster roll uh, of sorts, and that is something that I enjoy doing. I have my luggage with me. It's rolling around my backpack, and I go and sit down and grab a beer, get a Harbor IPA, and get a lobster roll. And it is a fantastic start of a vacation for sure. Let me share that with you guys. It's 'cause I like sharing. Yeah. So this is one of my favorite places to go to. It is literally a little. It's in like in a parking lot between all the buildings in Boston, and it's great, man. Like I can't say enough for it. They're a little like trailer with the lobsters. They catch them. They've got all their cages kind of sitting there, and then it used to just be a trailer. Last year, they looks like they added like a food cart on the side, outside to kind of because I guess they were getting busier and busier. But yeah, I mean their menu is pretty cheap. It's a lobster roll, a large lobster roll. I mean it's pricey, of course. It's lobster, $20, $30, whatever. Um, a whole cooked one, whatever. Lobster mac and cheese. But that's pretty much it. And then your sides are not pretty much. Usually, what I get is I can probably do a regular lobster roll, and a clam chowder, chowder for sure, and a beer, right? I then I rock out a nice beer on the menu, baby. It's all about the Harbor IPA. Harbor is a local. They've got it there. Yeah, Harbor. There's the Harbor UFO. That's a good one as well. So that's my menu. That's my itinerary. As soon as I finish that, I sit there. I enjoy a little bit of the outside, the weather, and then I Uber out to my hotel. Um, and that's what I tend to do. Wednesday nights tend to be a chill night. Either I go pick up my pass if it's a will call if I did that, or I've already got my pass. So I'll usually hit up the front of the convention center. Um, if I know anyone that works there, because I sometimes do work the show. I haven't done it in a few years, but best lobster roll I've ever had was a little place in Hartford, Connecticut, right off there. Yeah, man. Like again, I've had a few. This place tends to be my favorite just because it's the one I go consistently. But when we lived up here in the Northeast, when we drove up to Boston multiple times with my wife, and we went out to Ipswich. There's a great place out in Ipswich called the Clam Box, which is awesome if you like clam strips. Um, dude, this is awesome. And again, like I said, these episodes are going to be more supplemental now. I don't feel like I dive into the news as I want to. I'd rather just talk a little bit. But this is the place that I like to go to out in Ipswich. It's a really cool little place. It's like a little shack. It's called the Clam Box, and it's good. That's some good stuff. Just big old clam strips, and yeah, I'm excited, as you can see. But yes, one of the things that they didn't announce today was, well, they've been announcing lots of things, right? One of the little bits of rumor news is that we will not be getting a Tears of the Kingdom demo from Nintendo at PAX East, which kind of sucks because I was kind of looking forward to that. That said, though, we are getting something else, which I'm excited for. And if you have been paying attention, the Mario movie is in 100% full swing. The advertising is going crazy. There is all sorts of stuff going on, and they have a tour going on right now. If anyone's been paying attention to that, and they were here last weekend, March 10th. For Mario Day. They were in Austin. I didn't get to look at the pictures. I'm trying not to ruin it, but they will be in Boston, Massachusetts, March 24th through 26th. So they will be there for PAX. They are going to be parked at PAX. It's going to be crazy. So that's going to be exciting to go to. I don't know what they're doing. I know the van is going to be there and probably some merchandise and all sorts of stuff. So that's exciting. Yeah, it looks like they're going to be to 2024. They probably got a few vans. They're probably shopping them around the country or whatever. But that's going to be exciting. And another thing that's going to be there that was announced today, and I'll show you that. They announced a new game from Retrowave. It is a new beat 'em up. If you're familiar with, of course, the genre, like River City Ransom, River City Girls, Final Fight, Streets of Rage, all that sort of thing, all the beat 'em up style games. Last year's big darling and my game of the year last year, personally, was Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles: Shredder's Revenge. I think I played through that thing at least 10 times within the week. As I told everyone, I think I bought a copy of that game for every system I own. I bought it on Switch. I bought the Xbox version. I didn't buy the PlayStation version because I didn't need to, because it looks good on the Xbox Series X. I bought the PC version, and then I bought a physical copy of the Switch version. So I bought the digital and the physical for that, and that's because I think, last year at PAX I got to play it there. I really enjoyed it. Great team. .emu, they're a great team. They did the Streets of Rage 4. Release and all that. But I think this is Retrowave. This is Retroware. I'm sorry. There's a company that's doing this, and this was announced today. So I want to play this because this looks really cool. And if you are a fan of trauma films, or if you were a fan of the Toxic Crusader, as it was called, Toxic Avenger, Toxic Crusader, depending on which version. Toxic Crusader was the cartoon version of Toxie and the trauma film movies. But we are getting a video game for that, and it is yet again another beat 'em up, and it's animated just like the other ones. So this looks really cool. Check this out. We can pull it up real quick. Come on, there we go. Wish there was a way to like start the video and start the video and
Toxic Crusader, Toxic Crusader. Had no friends, no girls would hug me till I got radioactive ugly. Toxic Crusader, Toxic Crusader. I live in the dark as a red too long. Got a little bit blood and he loves me so. Toxic Crusader, Toxic Crusader. Now me and the boss, we fight against wrong. Even though we're hideously deformed. Hey, I'm sitting on top of the world.
we really do need a Bucky O'Hare.
Toxic Crusader, Toxic Crusader, Toxic Crusader, Toxic Crusader, Toxic.
Come on, Crusaders. It's cleanup time.
That's craziness. Talk about like pulling. I wouldn't have ever thought that Toxic Crusaders would have ever gotten a any type of merchandising, anything, right? That's exciting. I'm really, it's really cool that we're getting another beat 'em up and a good franchise, and again, good art. That pixel style artwork really worked well for TMNT Shredder's Revenge, and worked amazing. It wasn't pixel style; it was more of a hand drawn style for Streets of Rage 4. But again, that looked really good as well, and lots of love poured into these. So they're taking some of these franchises, and if they can give us all of the fun Easter eggs and references and characters and voice quirks and all that, because I mean, if you played Shredder's Revenge, right? One of my favorite things about that game was all the things in the game. It wasn't just like you had all the characters, and then you had all the frogs, and all the animosity between them. How they're not even heroes, yet they get the credit by the end of the game. You rescue them actually during the game. You pick up like all sorts of things, like Irma's things and Vernon's things, and all these like the neutrinos, and you fight all these characters and stuff from the classic show and the cartoon are just little Easter eggs and little things that were just really well done. And that is what I'm excited for, because the Toxic Crusader fan base is one of those, like, they don't exactly get a ton of things thrown at them, right, over the years. So to get something like this, probably fans of the game, fans of the franchise and the trauma films and all that, to come in and make a video game, it probably is going to be done with love. This doesn't seem like it's a cash grab in any way, because why would you pick that franchise to make a video game based off anyway, right? Like, doesn't seem like it's a cash cow. I mean, this will sell well because it'll already get good reviews if the engine and the fighting game is done well. But with all that said, this isn't TMNT. This is definitely something else. So that said, I'm excited for it. It's going to be cool. They are having a booth at PAX East. It will be playable. I will be in line to do that, because that seems like something. Hopefully they got some merchandise. I will definitely probably pick up a t-shirt or something from them. What else? What else here? Man. Like I stated, we will not be getting the Tears of the Kingdom. A Tears of the Kingdom demo. That's what they're going to be focusing. They said that they're going to be focusing on. What did they say? Focusing on esports of some sort. Like I don't know. I think they might be doing a Splatoon tournament or something like that. So that's exciting for sure. But yes, and again, I won't play the video. It's so funny. Like I'll just show you kind of a screenshot here. How sure we were, right? So 3 weeks ago we had Nintendo coming to PAX East. Tears of the Kingdom booth, please. You know, everyone was like talking about how we're gonna. We hope, and then 2 days ago, Tears of the Kingdom confirmed not to be at PAX East, right? So that's kind of the nature of the news cycle with this kind of thing. Like we don't know what's gonna be there, what's not, and sure enough, we aren't getting it. That's a little troubling. It is. We are now. By the time PAX comes around, it'll be March 22nd, and that is. I mean, how many weeks do we have left for Tears of the Kingdom? We haven't had a direct. We haven't actually seen full on gameplay or mechanics. I mean, yes, it is a sequel to Breath of the Wild, but it is also a game that randomly just got boosted in price, right? So it's not $59, it's $69. And you know there's going to be people screaming how it's going to be like an expansion. This should have been an expansion. I mean, that's how the fan, don't listen to the fans. Don't listen to fans. I'm going to make sure to put those in quote. Don't listen to people. And if this is a franchise that you love and enjoy and you want to play it, then just play the game that you enjoy. That said, it is troubling that here's a game that was delayed. It was delayed multiple times. So now it's out in 2023, spring 2023, no less. And we haven't had anything. I mean, the last Breath of the Wild, the first time they showed it, they showed full on mechanics and gameplay. This time around, they've showed nothing except the trailers, and the trailers are like blips of gameplay. Just little bitty hints of what the game mechanic looks like, what the music is sounding like, what the story is. We haven't had any type of story trailer. We'll probably get a launch trailer right before it comes out. I'm hoping that we get maybe a new trailer playing on Wednesday. If they're not going to show it at the show, I personally was at PAX South right before the Switch launch. It was the only show the Switch was playable at, and that was exciting. I worked that show. I worked the line. Actually, I was there. Hey, what's going on, Brandon? I worked that line. I was the enforcer that worked at PAX with the PAX South shirt, holding up the sign saying, "Hey, line is closed for 3 hours. It's a 3 hour wait, etc." for Breath of the Wild. And I remember coming in and getting to play that game a little early. They allow sometimes the enforcers and whatnot to come and check things out early. It's got to be. Point is you make friends with people there and reps and whatever else. And I got some pins and a couple other things from them because they were nice and I helped kind of tame the crowd for them. But all that said, it's exciting if you ever want to do something like that. Going to one of those shows and working them. It's a completely different experience when you work a show versus actually like just attend it. And I used to always attend it, but for a few years I decided to work it because I felt like I wanted to give back. And I haven't done it in a while. I might do it maybe in the future again. I am still on the team of the enforcers. Anytime I want to just join a show, I can. I just have to get to the show, right? But PAX East is my yearly retreat, my yearly friend meetup. I get to hang out with Pedro now that I'm not living in Syracuse. I get to do lots of board games, stay up late, hang out, that sort of thing, and that's what I'm excited for. As we get older, we don't have really many opportunities to hang out with friends, actual in person anymore. So I'm excited for that. But that said, usually when I get there, I don't know what's going to be there. I don't know what publishers are going to be there, what the booths look like. Usually Penny Arcade tends to put up like what the pins are. And if you remember, we've talked about it before. I'm a pin collector. I like collecting pins now. When it comes down to packs and any type of like gaming pin, I've got bags and bags full of pins, and a lot of them have been put on my backpacks, and a lot of them are collectors. I think I've said this story on the show before. The second year that we were doing pins, or that the Penny Arcade branded pins came out, and if you're not familiar with that, Penny Arcade is the webcomic that started PAX. That's what PAX stands for, Penny Arcade Expo. The expo has become kind of even bigger than its own like creation. As a matter of fact, the creators of the comic don't even really have much to do anymore. Hey, what's going on? Steve. Yeah. So Penny Arcade is kind of like a shadow, of itself. Well, it's still popular, but what I'm saying is it's like a shadow in the show. Like there are some merchandise and there are characters on the posters and whatnot, but so many people go to the show and have no clue that PAX stands for Penny Arcade, or that it's about like started off because it was a convention for the creators of a web comic, a gaming web comic, no less. And they started this thing called a penny arcade, penny arcade, and it's kind of a collecting thing. So they talk to the publishers that are going to be there, the indie developers or whatnot, and they get them to like buy and invest and make these pins. They're branded. They get to sell them and make the profit on them, but they're part of the collection. And so there's different waves. So every show there is a new set of pins that gets released. New specific show pins, specific pins that you can only get on the floor. Some of them you can only get if you play a demo, or if you beat maybe a developer at a demo, you might get a special pin. That's a good example is when Overwatch was announced. Well, Overwatch was about to come out. It was one of the only shows that Overwatch was playable at. So they were at a PAX East and they had an Overwatch pin. So if you played Overwatch, you got a Overwatch logo pin. If you got play of the game, and when you were up there, you would get a gold version of the Overwatch pin. That gold Overwatch pin goes for a lot of money. It's just for collecting purposes. If you want to have a whole set, you want the gold one, and it sells for quite a bit. The second year that the Penny Arcade thing was going on, there was a special pin that you would get. You could only get it when you were on the expo floor. And that particular pin was fun because the way you got it is you had to see someone that was walking around in a tabard for WoW. And he was essentially Leroy Jenkins, right? I mean, he didn't look like him. He just was an employee. And if you saw him, so the way you would know he was him is he took a picture or a selfie and was on the Blizzard PAX site or whatever on Twitter. So you knew what he looked like. So if you saw him, you were supposed to yell. And if you yelled, you were supposed to yell Leroy Jenkins, right? And if you were the loudest to yell it and he noticed you, he would give you a pin. And it was a Leroy Jenkins pin with his face, screaming, and then like his stats on the side, kind of like the top right hand corner logo of or your character profile picture in WoW. So I had that pin. It was great. It was very limited. You could only get it. There were hundreds of people sometimes yelling it, and if you were the one that got to yell it the loudest, he would give it to you and then walk away because that was it. And then he would have another. So only a few hundred were handed out. Anywho, I had that pin. But then again, I'm not a big WoW fan. Like I do play it. I did play it for a long time, but WoW wasn't my thing. It wasn't the Blizzard franchise that I like. I prefer Diablo over WoW. I prefer StarCraft over WoW. I prefer any of the other franchises over WoW, but I do enjoy it. And that particular pin, I had it for a long time. Well, it went up in value. Well, one year, I was like, I had it on me, and I was like, you know what, I might sell it this year. And sure enough, I looked how much it was, and that particular pin paid for my trip. Like it paid for my hotel room. All my ticket and my expenses. I sold it for over 400 just for the pin. It was nice. It was a good cash out, and I'm sure it's worth more now. But my memory of the pin, getting it, is more than owning the pin. I remember owning it, and now I remember that particular pin paid for a full year's worth of like expenses for me. So that's cool. That's the kind of stuff that I enjoy doing. That's the kind of another good example. A good PAX memory for me is being on the floor and signing up for the Facebook gaming session. So my name was on the list, and sure enough, I walked up to the booth and I said my name. They saw me on the list and they let me and my friends onto the booth to kind of go back, get snacks or whatever. Sat down, and then out of nowhere, Jason Mewes shows up. Jason Mewes apparently had a stream that he was going to do that day. And I'm sitting there. He's sitting right there. He starts his stream up, and I get to go up on stage with him and play Injustice. And got to play a few rounds of Injustice with him, Injustice 2. And that was great. I got it on video. I got tons of pictures. Got to meet the guy, shake his hand, hang out for a little bit. And it was a fantastic, good memory. Great memories. Again, and as Go Astronaut Go in chat has probably can state, playing lots of board games with friends is also one of the big ones, right? The show floor opens up at 10 a.m. and closes at 6 p.m., but the show goes on. There are concerts and panels and the the whole tabletop and handheld section is still open, so people are sitting on giant bean bags playing 3DS or Switch now, and playing tournaments, and doing Pokemon battles, and you name it, or trading cards, whatever, sitting down playing Magic in the corner with random people, sitting at tables and playing D&D, painting miniatures, building models. Uh, the tabletop area is just a place where they've got thousands of games, like a library, and you walk up and you scan your badge, they give you a sticker, and essentially you check out the game, you take the game back to your table, you sit down and play a board game you've never played before, learn it. If you don't like it, you turn it back in and go grab another one. And that's kind of the way it goes, and it just goes that way for 4 days, from 10 a.m. in the morning, or 9 a.m. actually, when the show floor actually, when PAX opens up, and then all the way to midnight. So at midnight, they close the expo hall, but that doesn't mean it ends there, right? So people go off to lobbies, they go off to other places, and they meet up and they play games, and we will play board games till 2, 3 o'clock in the morning. And that's kind of a cool experience. It's a cool thing to do, hanging out with friends, hanging out with like-minded individuals. And again, one of the big things, like I keep saying, is PAX is not just video games. PAX is video games, geek culture, cosplay, anime, animation, drawing, art, music, retro. There's a whole room dedicated to a Steel Battalion on Xbox. There's a whole room dedicated just Halo 1 and 2 on original Xbox with old CRTs. Just rooms of them all land together. So you grab, you're there with a few friends, you walk into that room, you say, I want to play. They hand you, you beep in or whatever. You sit down at these TVs and sit down and play, Blood Gulch for the next 2 hours. They have VR rooms. Yeah, man, that's they're going to be out there. They will be out there. I've seen them before. I have never owned one myself, but I've seen them for pretty cheap. Yeah, if it wasn't for PAX, I would have started collecting pins from other artists, and that's great too. Like the pins are a fun thing because they're just well made. They're enamel, they're well painted, and they're like a sticker that you get to keep that won't fade. Right? It's a metal kind of trinket. You can put it on a coat. I've used them as tie pins before. Just all sorts of random things. Put them in your hat. Put them on your backpack. Just whatever you want, use them like that. And they're just a fun collectible. I missed one $100 years ago, $100 years ago. Yeah, they go for about $250 now, but you can still find them for about $100. The nice part about that particular Steel Battalion controller is that it's so big and bulky that while people do know their value, some people don't want to pay that much and they just want to get rid of it. So you do tend to find it. There are deals out there, and also there's a lot of them that are broken. So with that in mind, it is kind of, you can find them. I'm just saying, like, the collectors, the retro community, especially the newer retro community that knows the value of things, won't let it go for less than $250, right? But you'd be surprised. It's a game that sold pretty well for the Xbox, but it's such a big beast of a thing that it's sitting in someone's closet. Someone's going to get rid of that thing for $50, and if you just happen to be the one that wants it, you'll find it. What is Gina? Is that a new thing? I don't remember. I know Discord. I mean, everyone moves on. God, no low ball offers. I know what I have. Yep, that's pretty much it. Oh, okay. Yeah. No problem at all. Yeah, the retro community is weird about that kind of stuff. But let's see here. I'll do a quick eBay search real quick. Steel Battalion Xbox, right? Let's see what we've got here. Wow. Wow. I'll pull that. I'll pull them up over here on the. I'll pull it up over here. Come on. So I will share this tab here. So sure enough, it's gone up in price a lot, right? So, $350 for that game, for that controller. That's a good $350. Steel Battalion, the full game. I mean, that's a well-maintained one too. It's got all the little bits and stuff, but $350 is a little rich for an accessory for a controller that can only be played really with one game or two games is technically. But it's all. If anyone's not familiar with what with what Steel Battalion is. Steel Battalion was a mecha game done by Capcom. Very very intricate, very technical, and it was such a weird like thing because Capcom made a lot of games, but they didn't make a ton for the Xbox. But the ones that they did were really good. And Steel Battalion was a specific Xbox only game. It was never released for any other system. I mean, there are releases for other systems now, like not remakes, but like they've moved on with the franchise. Not a lot, but when you bought the game, you bought it with this giant controller, and we're not. I mean, again, it's not like 5 buttons. I mean, this thing has got like switches and knobs and like lights and uh, uh, gears. You got to put, you're driving or like a manual practically. It's got like 5 gears in reverse for your just you had like that's a game that you're going to get your butt handed to picking up. I mean, that's a game that you have to practice to get good at. And sure enough, like it's amazing to see how much they're worth now because, like I stated, you go to PAX and they have a whole room dedicated to it, and they've got like 15 sticks in front of TVs. Wherever they got them from, people donate. They've got whole groups that kind of help out run this thing, and they bring their own personal sticks and they drop them in front of a TV and let them play. And then there's all sorts of modifications people have done to these sticks. New triggers, new switches, new lights, LEDs, rumble, sound modules. I've seen it all for these, and it's really cool to see. So that is definitely a controller. If you ever see one of those, and we're interested or like that type of gameplay, please, pick one of those up. Like I said, all of these buttons light up. They'll flash. Communications, multiple buttons for communications, dials. Rudder control, like just like all like pedals. So I mean, it's a mess. So that's a good thing to ask. Yes, there is a way to do it. So, and if you're not looking at chat there, Brandon is asking, can you use an arcade or a controller for that? There are ways to do it. You can use a Xbox 360 controller using the OG Xbox 360 project. So let me show that out here now, just because you brought it up, and I might as well talk about it. So OG Xbox. So there is a what is it? OG 360. What is it? I forgot what it's called. So OG 360. Wireless. It's a wireless controller module. So you take an Arduino and you flash it, and then you can basically pair up a 360 controller. So this is the project here. It's on GitHub. It is an open source project, or at least the firmware is out and available. You can kind of go through and you can order the PCB. So you need one microcontroller per controller. So if you can make one with one, make one with four, drop 4 of them on here, and then a USB port. And so then you add the 360 wireless adapter to it, and then each one of these modules is plugged into the controller port. It's a big convoluted mess, but once you build one, I do have one. They're not that expensive to build. Once you build that, you plug it into all 4 of your controller ports, and then all 4 of your controller ports are now wireless, right? And if you plug in an Xbox 360 wireless adapter, that adapter you can have 4 360 controllers mounted to it. So let's say you have all this, you now have 360 controllers. If you get the 360 controller and then get the chat pad, if you're anyone familiar with the 360 chat pad, I can pull that up. Xbox 360 chat pad. So the chat pad was a kind of it's one of these things. So if you have the controller like this in this setup right here with that module, you can map buttons to do other things. So top row will do certain, so you have analog controls and triggers, so you can move and they act as pedals and whatnot. And then the chat pad, each button will do certain things. And then people do like overlays for that as well, if I remember correctly. So, but yes, that is one of the things that you can do. It is really cool that you can do that. Let's see if I remember. Supports Rumble. Steel Battalion controller support with an Xbox 360 chat pad using the Xbox 360 wireless controller. So yeah, like I stated, that's what you can do here. Very low level programming, minimal input lag, less than 4 milliseconds. So the original controller, free firmware. It supports all sorts of things, all sorts of controllers. But yeah, like I stated, a Steel Battalion controller emulation. That's a big one right there. Yeah, so that's cool. That's another way to kind of play a game. And we've talked about it on the show a lot, that there are games that are locked out, right? Things that you can't play anymore if you don't have specific accessories, if the servers aren't up anymore, things that get lost to time. And that is that is one of those games that, like, if you've got good memories on it or you enjoy a mech style game, you don't see many of those very often, right? Like, you would have to go to like specific arcades or maybe I don't know. I can't even think of another game. The BattleTech games, I think, were like there was some games were an arcade system where you could like sit in a pod and play against multiplayer. I think they had those, an old setup like that, and that's about the closest I think you can get to controlling like a mech. So that game was pretty cool. It's very unitasker. It's like one controller that does it. Like, you can't really do much more with that controller. People have modded it to use it for other things, like plug it into USB and then use it to like play Mech Warrior games on your PC, that sort of thing. So that's cool. But yeah, again, that's PAX. I mean, I'm trying to think of what else. Music is always great. A lot of good artists. Mega Ran will probably be there. I haven't even looked at who's going to be there, what the schedule is looking like. But yeah. What else? We're getting to 42 minutes here. I really don't have much to talk about, like I stated. We had some news about some new games announced to the SNES NES catalog and Game Boy for the Switch. So I can bring that up real quick. Let me see if I can bring that up, because they are stinkers. I think they are not very good games that they announced. Some of them might have some good memories, but I don't have any memories for any of these games. So again, these are free with your subscription with Switch Online. So that's a good one. Kirby's Dream Land 2. That's a good one. That's definitely a good one to have for sure. And I don't remember this one. I remember Dreamland 1 more than 2. Yeah, the Game Boy version of Burger Time. Interesting. That looks fun, actually. It's retro enough that it's still like retro, but it is kind of like modern, and it's like Burger Time-ness. So I don't remember much about that one. That was for Game Boy, and then we've got the Side Pocket for SNES. I remember this game being like bargain bin. Like, every time you go look at, you see stacks of old used games. Side Pocket was always one of those games that was sitting, like, any flea market or whatever that's got SNES games sitting in boxes or whatever. Side Pocket tends to be one of them that I always see. So weird. That's the only SNES game, by the way. There wasn't another game they could have given us. And Xevious, not the best version of Xevious, but some people have good memories of this version, because it was kind of a way to play this game at home during the time where the game was on arcade. Definitely not my favorite port of that. And that's it. That was it. So it's like Side Pocket, Xevious are the two console games, and then a few Game Boy games. So two Game Boy games. That's the update. I can imagine people are they've got lots of things to say about that, because that's the world we live in, right? Like, everyone's got to complain about something. It's free. You're not paying for it. It's part of your subscription, but you're going to have people having to say on that. What else? What did I miss? I haven't, like I stated before the show, I haven't seen all of The Last of Us. I haven't caught up on any of it. What else? Anybody doing anything this weekend? Anyone doing anything for St. Patrick's Day, etc.? Because I don't celebrate any of those. Like, I mean, I'll like, we'll have the wife, or sometimes I'll hit up a pub and get some fish and chips or something for St. Patrick's Day, just because it's the day, right? But I don't go out and get drunk. Or I've never been one of those, like, let me go drink a ton of green beer. That's never been my bag. What else here? Man, that's it. Man, I really don't have. I know that we were getting Shazam! Fury of the Gods comes out this Friday, so that's cool. I guess I don't know how I feel about that. If anyone's been watching or following the news on that, they did do a. If I remember, I'll get some cans of Guinness. Yeah, I might get some. I'll definitely get some Guinness or something like that. going to kick back and watch Boondock Saint. That's a good one. That's a good movie to actually put on. That's a good idea. I might steal that one. Guinness is too bitter for me, sir. Really? Okay, bitter. I wouldn't think I've ever called Guinness bitter. Yeah, okay, but you rarely drink, so can't remember. Yeah, no, Guinness is like drinking it's like drinking bread. A can of Guinness will like it's a filling beer. I do have Irish whiskey, so I will be doing that. Not Scotch, Irish whiskey, please. That'll be something that I can. I bought a can of Guinness a few years ago. Got freaked out not knowing about the ball that was inside and threw it out. Yes, it's like a spray paint can, right? It's what keeps the foam going. Get some Irish car bombs, right? Get some Irish whiskey or what is it? What's the black and tan? Get some Bass and Guinness. Layer it nice. That's always good. That's a good drink. I like that. I like a black and tan. I haven't had one. Maybe I'll do that. I'm mostly Scotch-Irish, but I never did like Guinness. Yeah, we do a lot of like my wife likes to make Scotch eggs, not on St. Patrick's Day, of course, but in general, when it comes down to Scottish food, tends to be more what I like. We like a lot of that stuff, but then again, a lot of it any type of Irish pub or bar or whatever, you can get a little bit of both. If you Scottish and Irish, Scotch eggs are definitely my favorite for sure. What else here? I can't think of anything else, man. It's like I said, it's a quiet. My brain is 100% towards PAX right now. The Oscars happened. I know that. Everything Everywhere All at Once won the show. It won a ton of. I haven't sat down and watched it. I do have the digital copy of it now, so I probably will sit down and watch it soon. Dungeons and Dragons: Honor Among Thieves is getting a lot of good reviews. I'm excited for that. I wish it was coming out before PAX or at PAX. I would love to go watch that at PAX. I know that John Wick will be out the next Friday after that. I do know that we are. Pedro and I and folks, if they want to, will be going to go see John Wick on Saturday. So that is something I'm definitely going to do. What about the M3 Max? I don't think we've got anything news on that, right? Like they haven't announced them yet. I know that they said that they're coming for sure. We still got the M2s, and I rock my M1 Pro, which I really like. And the Oscars happen. I'll start watching them again when the losers get to slapped on. The Oscars I don't watch them much anymore. They got a little crazy, but they've been getting better over the past few years. They've been really giving it to the winners, the movies that deserve it. Everything Everywhere All at Once definitely deserved all the praise that it got. And there was a lot of other movies that got some good awards that deserve the praise. Yeah, I'm excited for Dungeons and Dragons. It comes out in theaters March 31st. So not gonna be able to see that with friends. That would have really been the icing on the cake. Sit down and watch Dungeons and Dragons with our entire D&D group up in the Northeast. That would have been fun for sure. What else here? There was article I posted. I'd have to take a look. I don't remember what the article was about, but Mac in general is I mean, we've moved away from Intel, right? So we're going to go back to, if you're a Mac user now. It's no longer, hey, I'm a Mac user and a PC user because I can load Windows on it. So it's going to be interesting in the next few years now that Intel is done with. As soon as we get a Mac Pro replacement, that's it. That's the last one that's missing from the lineup. New updates for iMacs. Shazam 2 and John Wick 4 come out soon. Yeah, correct. So Shazam 2 comes out this Friday and John Wick comes out the following Friday, which I'm excited for. And yet Biodome hasn't gotten Polytroy Elijah. It will. Time will tell on that one. Honestly, but Brendan Fraser, not Frazier. Brendan Fraser got the Academy Award for Best Actor. So he got it for his role in The Whale. So that's one step closer because the Encino Man now has an Oscar for the Best Actor of the Year. So that's let that churn for a little bit. The oiled up Crow Mag, George of the Jungle, it got the Oscar for Best Actor. That's amazing. Full circle. Kudos to Brendan Fraser. So that's fantastic. Stop wasting the juice. So Pauly Shore's closer. It's closer. He's one step away. He's not first degree of separation now. 1 degree of separation from Best Actor. So Pauly Shore will get his. Oh yeah, that's right. He was. Yeah. So for both in Encino Man, he was the director, right? So like it's no, it's great. Like that's a good connection. I completely forgot about that. It's time for Pauly Shore to have his. I met Pauly Shore years ago in Austin. I went to the local radio station or whatever was doing like a haunted house or whatever, and my friends were like, "Hey, let's go," and we went, and it was like Pauly Shore's going to be there. He's going to be the one that's guiding you through the haunted house or whatever. And man, I don't have that picture. It was pre digital cameras, like where digital cameras were like a thing. So there's a roll of film, I think, with a picture of me and Pauly. But at the end of the run, we went through the haunted house, which I hate haunted houses. I hate horror. That's not my thing. But we went because Pauly Shore was going to be there, and we had fun from what I can remember, I think. And I remember him walking away, and I was like, "Yo, Pauly!" And he turned around, and I was like, "Can I get a picture?" And he's like, "Yeah." So, and I got made fun of that for years because they're like, "You just called him out by his first name." I'm like, "What am I supposed to call him, Mr. Shore?" Like, it's so weird. It's like, I'm sure that's his dad. No one calls. I wouldn't want to be called Mr. anything. I mean, you call him by my first name. His name's Pauly. Yo, Pauly, what's up? Let me get a picture. So I was able to take a selfie, which I guess pre-digital phone I don't have anymore. But something tells me meeting Pauly Shore in real life is pretty much exactly how you'd picture what it was right around the time where he came back with his new movie, right? I think he was promoting his that Pauly Shore is Dead movie, where he was kind of he killed off his character. He killed off the Weasel. That was his big ending to that character, which I appreciated. He was really trying to like leave that style. Like, he will always be Pauly Shore, but the Weasel was kind of a character that he was like done playing. He was he was typecast. His own character creation made it so that it's like Paul Rubens, right? Paul Rubens created Pee-wee, Pee-wee Herman, and of course with all the stuff in the like theater, which is such stupid. Like, that bit of news. Like, I can't believe we like allowed the world to like hate on Pee-wee Herman, a consenting adult, pulling out his like junk at a adult theater. Like, isn't that like what are you doing at an adult theater that's like I was offended by that. Like, it makes no sense to me. But anywho, for years he was like, anywho, he's back now and everyone's okay with it because there's people have done far worse things. I mean, look, nowadays you'll just elect him as president, right? But with all that said, Paul Rubens was kind of is typecast with his own character. He's his own character creation, the character that he is, Pee-wee. Like, Paul Rubens was in other movies. Like, he played the Penguin's dad in Batman Returns, right? So like, he's done other roles. He's actually been in multiple movies, like in the background as either cameo characters or whatever, as just playing himself. But he seems like he can't be in front of the camera without being in the Pee-wee like character. And kind of also like Bobcat Goldthwait, right? He's got his character of Bobcat Goldthwait, like, this stumbling, voice, crackling character is a character. That is not actually how Bobcat Goldthwait talks. As a matter of fact, he's constantly on Wait, Don't Tell Me on NPR. And, it's always funny to me because he's really smart and really funny, but he's not in his like Bobcat Goldthwait character. So Pauly Shore was the Weasel for so long that I'm glad that he's done with that. I paid off my 2020 MacBook Air today. I got it from a friend on payments. Oh, that's cool. Yeah, man, that's a good MacBook Air. It's an M1, right? So that's a good machine for sure. There are other 80s characters, right? I can't think of. There's a few other 80s characters or comedians that kind of like were a character, and they never really left that character. I'm trying to think of more. Bobcat Goldthwait is one. Pauly Shore is another. But yeah, if anyone in chat can remember another character like that, that's just like the character they created is the actor they can't get away from it. They almost want to be casted as that for every movie. They want that comedian or whatever in there. They don't want the actor playing the comedian. They want that character in their movie. And that's sad sometimes. And I think that happened with Brendan Fraser for a while too. He became kind of an action star, and then his whole sad story of getting injured, and then he was like sexually assaulted by someone in Hollywood that caused him. Adam Sandler was one of the lucky few to break that mold. Yeah, man, that rolls. That's a great one. Him doing the high pitch, his Adam Sandler character. He broke out of that and was able to play other characters, but he did that himself, right? Because he was doing his whole his own movies with all his friends, the same characters in different movies. The Adam Sandler, the Happy, what is it? Not Happy Gilmore, but the Happy Mason Productions, I guess it was. It was Happy Madison Productions. So Billy Madison and Happy Gilmore combined to make his production company. And so he made all these movies under that movie production company. And he was able to do whatever he wanted, from a funny guy to being like he did 50 First Dates and what is it? Is it Big Daddy? Is that the other one? And then he did so many of them. A lot of them bleed. The Water Boy. He did a lot of those movies kind of bleed together because all the characters are in them. Like Steve Buscemi's in all of them, and you got Rob Schneider in all of them, and you have Adam Sandler and the rest of his cast is in all of them. So all of those characters are in the same movies over and over again, but they play different characters. So I always forget. Little Nicky. That's one of my favorites for sure. But people always hate Little Nicky. Little Nicky. I think I quote Little Nicky once a week at least. I'm always quoting that movie because I think it's funny. I always walk up to people and I'm like, get in the flask, and no one ever gets the reference. Steve Buscemi's another one. He does the character from Adam Sandler movies, then roles like Mickey Thompson. Yeah, right. So he's a character, but again, he's one of those. I mean, Robin Williams was able to pull that out, right? At the end of his career, after Good Morning Vietnam onward. I mean, he was cast in so many drama roles and so many great actor roles. That is definitely a good conversation here when it comes down to movies with certain comedic characters that were able to break that mold and become great actors. Or they were always great actors. They were just not given the chance. Jim Carrey is another one, right? I personally think Jim Carrey is an amazing actor. He's done great things. Plus, his comedic roles have always been really fun to watch. But a movie that's him playing multiple characters, but not is like Truman Show, right? Where he's like this naive adult, that's contained in a bubble being watched by all of America, which is so funny because we now live in a post reality TV YouTube world where everyone's doing vlogs and whatever else. But that's such a great movie. I mean, I love it's one of my all-time top 10 movies, bar none. I love it. Eternal Sunshine was one of those other movies that Jim Carrey just you're like, where did this guy come from? I can't believe how amazing of an actor he is, and yet he can still twist his face into multiple comedic roles. Buscemi was great in Sopranos and serious roles. Yeah, for sure. You still haven't seen what movie? Oh, what movie have you not seen? Because any movie that I've mentioned, you should have seen by now. Truman Show? You've seen Truman Show, right? Because that's... If not, you're watching it this weekend when you come over. Yeah, no, that's one of my favorites. Yeah, I think that's it. I'm pretty much done. I am thinking about the anxiety of packing for PAX every year is always kind of a big one for me. Truman Show. You never saw Truman Show. Wow, that's amazing. You never saw that. One of my all-time favorite movies. I'll have to sit down and watch that. Any excuse to watch the Truman Show is good for me. The anxiety for packing for PAX is always interesting. Before, when I used to live in Syracuse, right, I lived in the Northeast, so I had a car, and anything I need, I just threw in my car. Now I fly, right? So I'm flying across the country, and I'm I pack a bag and a carry-on or whatever. I carry on my backpack and then my clothes. And every year I always feel like I pack too much. I always pack too much tech or too much whatever because I feel like I'm going to do it, I need it, and then I never use it. So this year I'm going to go as minimalist as I can. I'm going to bring my pins for trading. I'm going to pack 4 t-shirts and a pair of jeans and a pair of shorts and a couple hoodies, and that's it on clothes. I want to have my bag mostly empty because I always end up picking little things or stuffed toys for the kids or whatever, and they take up too much room in my bag. And And then from that, it's I always end up bringing like my laptop and my iPad, and then like handhelds and all sorts of chargers and wires and cables and whatnot, and then I end up not using any of it but my phone, and I don't pull out my laptop very often. I'll pull out my iPad to watch movies on the plane and whatnot, but that's it. Just travel for work for the best part of 7 years. Yeah, no, I mean I get it, and like, but I'm not because I don't travel as much. I feel like I'm going to forget something that I need. And sure enough, every year I do forget something. Like last year, for some reason, I forgot to bring most of my pins. So I didn't have too many pins to trade with. So that felt annoying because it was a lot of things that I wanted to get rid of. But this year, I'm going to bring my pins. I'm not going to bring like 20 different electronics. I'll probably bring this laptop, my phone, and my iPad, which is everything that's sitting on this table right now. The phone is the camera that I'm using right there. And their respective chargers, and most of them are using USB-C, except the iPhone till next year. Apple. But pro tip for electronics: if you're going to charge your cable, yep, for sure. Although I never forget my charger. That's the one thing I don't do. What I end up doing is I pack too many chargers, and all of the chargers that I end up packing, I end up lending to other people, right? Everyone's like, oh, do you have a charger? I forgot my cable, whatever. And I'm giving battery packs and whatever else away to people to carry around. And depending on where you are, there's a better than not chance that the cable is mine at some point. Yeah. It's been nicer, right? So everything's gotten wireless. So even though I prefer fast charging and whatnot, my nightstand has got a wireless charger. I just drop my phone on it. It charges. My watch is wireless. Boop, you just drop it on there. My AirPods in my pocket are wireless. You just go like boop and drop them on there and they charge. And then everything is kind of switching over USB-C. My laptop has USB-C for charging. My iPad is USB-C. Again, the only one thing that isn't USB-C is that dang phone right there, even though it's the newest model. Apple's been holding out on it, but it's coming out next year. This year, we're finally getting USB-C. Finally. Apple, stupid. We've talked about it before. If I haven't talked about it on the show before, Apple makes a lot of money on their made for iPhone accessories and the licensing for their like proprietary chip inside of that cable, which allows them to control things for security purposes, of course, and money, because Apple loves money. No shame in their game. But all that said, though, is by them switching over to USB-C, there will be a loss of control. That labeling won't be there. I don't know what they're going to do for that. I don't know how they're going to like get away with trying to sell anything by making hardware makers slap that logo. I guess if they want to have that logo on there, there's a lot of people that don't buy things. I won't say my father-in-law, but people like my father-in-law's age, they go to the store and they won't buy like a charger cable or anything unless it says like made for iPhone or made for this, because they feel like it's better, right? And that said, I agree. Now, as a person that worked at Apple for many years, there were many times where cheap chargers blew up batteries and phones because cheap chargers overcharge. They don't have proper regulators. They're throwing too much voltage into the phone. The phone's having a fight against it, etc. Eventually, it loses the battle and the battery explodes. Most of the time that you've ever seen in the news, most of the time, unless you're a Samsung Note 4 owner or 7, I can't remember which one it was, that blew up and had an actual battery defect. All that said, most of the time when you see a phone that exploded, they've exploded. Most of the time, the batteries exploded because they were using no brand cable, no brand charger, too much voltage, cheap connections, whatever the case may be. So there is a validation to the made for iPhone, made for this device kind of thing. And I'll be honest with you guys. And again, this is a rant past that time that I should have left already. USB-C is a pain in the butt. If anyone is familiar with the drama that is USB-C and its multiple iterations and its multiple methods of charging, you can get USB-C, USB-C PD, USB-C Qualcomm Quick Charge 3, and then USB-C can be USB-C, it can be Thunderbolt 3, it can be USB-C 3.1, it can be 3.1 generation 2, it can be 3.2, it can be Thunderbolt 4. Everything I just mentioned are true things, and they actually all use the same plug, but they do not all work together, and it is a pain in the butt. It is the worst thing that they've ever done. I blame the USB-C consortium and all of the regulators to allow that. They allowed that mess of a situation, and they now have, I think the newest one is it's USB-C USB-C Gen or USB-C 3.0 Gen 3V2, I think, is something like that is what it's called. And it's a mess. It is like, I am not making any of this up. This is actual terminology that's being used out there for like cables and whatnot, and speed and certifications, and all of that matters, because you buying a USB-C cable does not mean that you're going to be able to use that USB-C cable to charge your laptop, for example, at full speed, because that might not have all the pins it needs. You using a USB-C cable instead of a Thunderbolt 4 cable, even though it's the same plug, doesn't mean you're going to be able to get the full speed off that hard drive, or it won't charge properly, or you won't get the full voltage, or your laptop won't charge at 90 watts. It'll charge at 25 watts, which means it'll take a day and a half to charge that giant battery. Pain in the butt. It's all, so that's another reason why Apple did not switch over from USB-C. They were really trying to wait for finalization and all of that. Yeah. Anywho, yeah, better than where you are. There's better than not. Yeah, I know. It's again, I will overpack probably, even though I just said I won't overpack. I will probably still overpack, but I'm going to try not to. I'm going to take very little minimal clothes, a few t-shirts, a couple hoodies. I don't know what the weather like is in Boston right now, and the weather right now doesn't mean it's going to be the weather next week, right? So it could be all rainy next week in Boston. It could be snowing again, because it's not May yet. It's March, and March is still weather time to snow. So who knows? All right, folks, it's been 1:07. Thank you so much for joining me. We will be back not next week. We will try to maybe go live if the bandwidth is available, if we've got time, etc. I will probably be doing that. I can have 2 cameras on this laptop, and I will probably do that. I will have 2 cameras with me, and I will probably try to get Pedro and me sitting in front of it just for maybe 30 minutes or so on a Thursday or Friday or whatever. But someone, when we're not playing D&D, we're not going to see John Wick, and he's got some downtime, and we can just maybe sit down and just join you guys. If I figure out a time frame for that, I will throw that up on Twitter. I will throw it up on the Discord, that empty channel, that empty thing that no one talks about, except Rolls. Rolls is fantastic. He's been talking, and I've been not replying back to him. I feel bad. I see you. I read them every time, because I do get notifications for it, because I have notifications turned on for the Mid-Geek Crisis Discord. No one else does, though. So all that said, though, join us. I will go live. Maybe I'll go live on Discord instead of one of these. That way everyone can hop on the Discord. I don't know. That seems kind of silly. I might as well just go live on Twitch. It's going to be mayhem. I will take lots of pictures. I'll go follow me on Twitter at the _Geek Crisis. That will probably be the best place to see all of my updates. If you are on the Discord, the general channel does get my retweets every time I tweet or message something. You'll get a new message in there, so that's also a way to follow along. That's a way for me doing it. Everyone, go have a good week. Rolls, have you been enjoying all of the baseball? I always find it funny every spring. I have the app that I use for my phone is The Score. I don't know if you're familiar with that app. I use it on my iPhone, and it's a great app for score. It's very minimal in its way, but it also like really bombards you with notifications. And baseball started, right? And I've been getting, it's the weirdest. Baseball is so weird. Who watches or follows baseball at like 11 o'clock in the morning? They're like, oh, Astros are playing right now against the Cardinals at 11 o'clock, and it's like a scoring play. I'm like, what's going on? Why is there baseball at 11? Why is there baseball at noon? What is happening? Baseball is weird. Spring is weird. Games in the middle of the workday are weird. I just don't. I know that there's so many games that they need to just play them, but it's just weird to me that baseball is played like 2 o'clock in the afternoon on a Thursday. Like, I guess that's the old joke of like, I'm going to skip work to go to the ball game. I mean, that I remember that being a thing. I'm familiar with it, although I'm an MLB and ESPN user, interested in seeing how things work out with the Bally Sports. But yeah, so Bally Sports bankruptcy. I haven't followed along on that. I have read a little bit on it. So I'd be interested in that. Rolls, I might have to pick you, on that to throw some sport knowledge at us here on the show. Maybe do a little section outside of Pedro's stuff just to talk about it, because occasionally that is kind of geeky sometimes on the aspect, and we are all nerds and geeks in different ways, and sports are a thing. I did see, what is it? And again, I know NFL is not your thing, but I've been following along the drama with oh my God, not my brain. Rodgers. He's Aaron Rodgers. Thank you. There it goes. Brain. Thank you. Aaron Rodgers is like leaving Green Bay, and apparently they're not. It's not a clean break. And he just announced that he's gonna go and play for the New York Jets. What an absolute like! I can't imagine. Like Brady did the same thing in a way. Like he ended his career with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, which all that said, he won a couple Super Bowls with them, which is absolutely yes. That dude sold his soul to the devil. There's definitely a contract out with Brady's name, bar none. No one can ever refute that. He has a contract with the horned one himself that he's just like, I get to win whenever I want, and I get to marry a supermodel and like be a super rich. And I think the contract is starting to decay. So he lost the wife and he lost a bunch of money at crypto and he didn't win and he went out as a loser in this final year. I think that's the end of the contract. I think we're going to get some, I think the devil's pain, the devil's toll is coming for Tom Brady for sure. But yeah, exactly. So they didn't do it with Brett Favre and now at Rodgers. But it's just weird to see someone like Aaron Rodgers end his career under the Jets. Yeah, peace directly to the red. Illuminati. Oh wait, no, we gotta stay on brand here, buddy. We gotta stay on brand here. Let's put that on brand here. Where'd it go? There it goes. There we go, right there. 100% there. I believe that is 100%. And like I said, in my conspiracy theory right here of Brady definitely has some sort of contract out with some higher power, some sort of demon god, whatever, to have gotten as many rings as he did, to be as good without being like the most athletic person on the field. Like that dude like never had to like hustle or run for a touchdown. He's just sat there in the pocket and like never got touched. When he would get sacked, it was but he never got really injured. I don't think he had many seasons where he was like out for the season or whatever. No season-ending injuries that I can remember or recall. He might have had one or two in his many years, in his Chrome Magnum years of playing under the Patriots. But like, it's just funny to me, like that dude went out on top last year, sorta, kinda, and then came back and played another year, only to like lose it all. Like he lost a ton of money in crypto and lost the wife and was in the news for all sorts of weird stuff, and then like retires and just like a whimper. Yeah, go Brady, whatever. But anywho, that's just weird to me. That particular bit of NFL news I thought was hilarious to me. I was like, I can't believe Aaron Rodgers is going to leave the team. He's going to be playing in another green outfit. Like the funny thing is, he's not even going to play in different colors. He's going to be wearing green and white as opposed to green and yellow. Anywho, that said, thank you so much, guys, for joining me on Wednesday. Again, we will not be back next week. Maybe we will on the show. I will tweet out. Go follow me on Twitter. Go follow me, mid_geek crisis. Follow me on the Discord. And yeah, I will post updates. I will be posting lots and lots of saturated pictures on probably hit up the Instagram as well. You can follow me on Instagram because that's a good place to kind of throw pictures up. And I will also be throwing them up on Twitter as well. And that way you can just follow along, follow the journey. Lots of selfie pictures. You'll see that Pedro and I do exist outside of like being from a distance. It's the only time of year that we get to like take a picture with each other together. So that'll be fun. And yeah. If there's anything exciting you want me to do in Boston, let me know. I will take pictures, and if you need me to go see a game, if you see a vendor there that you wanted me to see, go check out the vendor. Go to PAX East website. They've got a expo hall on the show floor and the publishers and a list of games that are going to be there. If there's anything that interests you or whatever that you want me to look at, go cover, interview someone, I'll do it. I've always done it. Like, I'll do it. I've done it before. So yeah. All right, everyone. Take care. Another episode in the can. If you've got some tea, Startup Revolution, yeah, of course. You just chunk it out, chunk it over there, right? I mean, it's the harbor, the harbor. All right, everyone, take care. Have a good week. I'll be back soon. And in the words of Pedro, be kind.